Hey everyone, Z-Slayer Dre here, and today I wanted to talk about, I think Nintendo really needs to start selling some older first-party games on the Switch. It seems like it's really been kind of lacking in that area, and for people like myself that have not owned a Nintendo console in quite some time, I mean, personally, me, I haven't owned one since the original NES. So other than the handhelds, which I've had a few, I didn't have the DS, but I've had all the other ones. But I've missed out on so many games that seem amazing that I would love to play, but there's really no easy way of playing them. You can use ROMs, which I really don't like doing, or you can buy the older consoles, which are some can be pretty expensive, and especially some of the games are insanely priced. And also, I mean, the fact is, Nintendo doesn't see any profit from that. That's people reselling used games. So it's kind of weird how they just don't sell the older games on the Switch. And also, it's a Switch. You can play it anywhere. That's kind of like the huge draw of playing it on there. Obviously, it's great to play it on your TV at home, but just having the Switch being able to use it anywhere would just be incredible for some of these older games. And also, if you haven't played or owned a Nintendo console in a long time, you might not have played some games that are earlier in a series, like they're coming out, like Luigi's Mansion 3 just came out. I haven't played the other ones. I'm not really sure if it's a game for me, but I usually like to start with the first game in the series and work my way up. I don't like starting on the third installment. Same thing, Metroid Prime 4 is coming out next year. I've never really played a Metroid Prime game. Maybe I would love them. I don't want to start on the fourth installment because what am I missing out on the story? I mean, some, like, for example, Zelda, Breath of the Wild, you don't really need to play any older Zelda games for that. Obviously there's running themes throughout the Zelda games, but it's not like I'm not going to know. There's not a huge backstory because it's a new kind of world every time, or I don't really know how that works, but you don't need to have played the older games. But it's not like that for all of them. And also, the older games might be great. Maybe I want to play them. And for example, like Fire Emblem Three Houses. I've never played a Fire Emblem game, never even thought I would ever play one. I picked it up on a friend's recommendation and I fell in love with it. I've put like over 150 hours in the game. I'm on my third save. It's an incredible game, hands down the game of the year for me. But I wanted to go back and play the older games, so I have a 3DS, so I grabbed Echoes and Awakening. I'm working through Echoes now, and it's fun. I like the games. I wish I could play them all on my Switch. I have this more powerful system with a better screen. Going back to the 3DS kind of stinks. I would love to have played them on the Switch. And not to mention, there's the one that was on the Wii and the GameCube. They are, especially the GameCube one, very expensive. Even a used copy is over, I think it was like $140 or so. And the cheapest I could see the Wii one for was like $70, somewhere more. And I'm sure the condition, whether you get the case or not, matters. But it's insanely priced. And it's, like I said earlier, Nintendo doesn't see any profit from that. It's just the reseller that gets the profit from it. So they could be profiting from this. I again would love to go back, and I'm sure there's like some of the older Zelda games, like the ones on the Wii and GameCube. I would like to play them. I think they do have some remakes on the 3DS, but same point applies. I would love to play them on my Switch. And even you see like other companies do this and realize that, like Activision, a company that is solely focused on selling microtransactions and trying to exploit gamers however they can, even they see the value in selling older games. When you see like the Spyro and the Crash Bandicoot trilogies being sold, which are incredible remakes, and they released them on all platforms. Obviously Nintendo wouldn't do that, but they sold like crazy. They made them a huge profit, and I doubt they spent too much on the development costs, but they were very good remakes. And that kind of brings me to my next point is, I don't get why, if Nintendo doesn't want to do it, why not just contract someone else to do it? Like, for example, Blue Point Games, which would be the perfect fit for them, considering they're made up of people who made Metroid Prime, so be a great fit for them. And they've done some really really good remakes. I mean, I'm looking at it right now. It's a lot of Sony stuff, but they did the Uncharted collection, Shadow of the Colossus, Titanfall, I didn't know that, Metal Gear Solid HD collection, God of War collection, and a bunch of other stuff. Like, they have a very good history of making really good remakes. Now, I know they're working on some Sony stuff, and you could contract them for something in the future, and it doesn't necessarily have to be them, because there's a lot of Nintendo games that need to be remade, so they could be one of the companies that we use, or that Nintendo would use to make the remakes. Like, especially for Pokemon games, I doesn't, especially now, it doesn't really seem like Game Freak is, and I don't know how much Creatures involved with that, but they do not seem interested in making Pokemon games anymore, or at least not the mainline ones. So why not contract out Bluepoint Games or a company like Bluepoint Games to make, they don't have to make a new, I mean, it would be nice if they could make a good new one, but make an older collection of all the games. Like, you could do like a bundle of like Soul Silver and Fire Red and you know, Green, you know, do all those games together, put them in a package. You know, it probably wouldn't take that much work. You just, honestly, I mean, it would be great if they would to remake them in 3D. I mean, that would be a lot of work. They'd have to put extra stuff in. Even, I mean, I would prefer that, but even if they just made it so they would be playable on the Switch in a package, would be just incredible. Now, the only problem is they would need to be reasonably priced, because that does seem to be a huge problem on the Switch, both with Nintendo first-party stuff and third-party stuff. It seems like stuff is being sold at a gigantic premium. Like the Devil May Cry stuff, I've seen it, I think it's like $40 for like a single game, or 30 or something like that. I got Devil May Cry 1 through 4 with all the DLC included for $11.50 on the PlayStation 4. I mean, why would I buy it on the Switch? Yes, you can play it in different areas, but for like someone like me who had never played the Devil May Cry stuff, paying $30 for a game that came out on PS, or like the first Devil May Cry, I think it came out on PS1 or 2. Why would I pay $30 or $40 for that if I'd never played it? I have no idea how good it is. But instead of the PlayStation 4, I could pay $11.50 for all 4 of them. It doesn't make any sense. And you can see this, like, they just released the Assassin's Creed. I'm looking at the store right now. The Assassin's Creed Rebel collection. It's $40. On any other platform, I could get those for less than $20 together with all the DLC. I'm sure it has to include all the DLC, but still, on other systems I can get it for less than half the price for both of those. You know, play at higher frame rates and better resolutions. Obviously, the you know, allure of the Switch is to be able to play it anywhere, but still, you know, it's crazy overpriced. So if they did remake some older first-party games, they would have to be reasonably priced. The same thing like Link's Awakening. That was, you know, it's a good game. It was probably one of the best Game Boy games, but that's over 2 decades, almost 3 decades old. Selling it for $60 was a little overpriced. I think that was, you know, $30 would have been reasonable. I personally, I think should have been a little bit less, but 30 would have been a reasonable price. Even 40. 60 was insane. Same thing with Pokemon Let's Go. A game which I actually think I enjoyed more than everyone else, or the majority, because it was just something different. And, you know, it was a game I loved, so it was playing on nostalgia, obviously, and they switched up some of the mechanics, so it was, you know, just something different. It was nice, but same problem, $60, way too expensive. Not to mention there's 2 different versions. If you want to get both of them, it's like $120, you know, to play everything. Not that you really need both versions, but I mean, personally, I would have had fun playing through both of them, but, you know, $120 for that, that's just too much to ask for that. But it does seem like right now Nintendo is focused on drip feeding content out. It's kind of like they're playing on the FOMO, the fear of missing out. You know, they want you to, you know, you've been waiting forever for it, and if it comes out, you're going to jump on it, pay for whatever service they're offering right now, or pay for the game. You never know when it's going to come back out, so you're going to have to grab it now, or else you might miss out. And I think they do that on purpose. I know other companies do. It kind of reminds me of like the Disney Vault. I don't know if they really do that now because their streaming service, but they used to release their movies, like release them as DVDs or Blu-rays or something. I'm sure they probably still do it, but then they release them only for a limited time, and then they would get rid of them, and you would miss out. And I touched on this a little bit earlier, but when they remake the games, they could just bundle them together. Like, for example, I talked about Fire Emblem before, how I wanted to play some of the older games, the ones on GameCube and Wii and maybe some other ones. Why not do a bundle? Do a Fire Emblem bundle of maybe all the 3DS games together, or the Wii and GameCube one together. They would make crazy money. I mean, Fire Emblem Three Houses sold really well, and I'm sure there's a lot of people like myself, it's their first Fire Emblem game. They want to play more, and this would be a perfect thing for it's a win-win. We want to play more, and Nintendo would make tons of money. Same thing I talked about Pokemon, they could do with that. They could do a Metroid Prime one, Zelda. It's just easy money, and they could develop them in a way that might be easier for them when they make a Switch 2, for example. Could easily just port them to the next system, or just make it backwards compatible. And that's something it seems like companies are starting to. I mean, I know Microsoft has been doing it for a while, but even Sony's trying to do it now, where the PC has become more popular. You have to compete with it. You really want to make your games backwards compatible, so they could develop them now on the Switch, and this could be the last time people have to buy it, because it gets annoying having to rebuy stuff over and over and over again. So they could make them for the Switch and make them so they're easily portable, and you just raise the frame rate and resolution on the newer consoles. And failing that, Nintendo has loved its peripherals over the years, so they could make some sort of thing that you could plug into the USB of the Switch, and it could be like a cartridge slot, so you could put in Game Boy games or 3DS games. 3DS would be awesome. 3DS and DS or something like that. And maybe do like a limited run of some of the bigger games. Again, would sell out like crazy. It almost instantly would sell out, and make them a ton of money. And we would be able to get to play our favorite games on our newest system. Obviously, it'd be limited to just playing at home on your TV, but it's something. It's just thinking outside the box, something they could do, because obviously I think there's a lot of people like myself that just want to play these older games. So I want to know what you guys think about this. Am I being too hard on them? I mean, I just think it's been out for a few years. We like to see a little bit more. It feels like first party stuff is they've definitely put out a good share, but it definitely seems like the reason you buy a Nintendo product is you want to play the Nintendo games. I think a lot of people probably have multiple consoles, or they have a PC and a Switch. So, like myself, I'll play mostly. The Switch is mostly for first party games. I want to play Nintendo stuff, and the other stuff I would play on my PC. Obviously, I think some indie games have done really well on there, and I'm sure some third party games have done very well. But like I said, I personally prefer the higher resolution and frame rate on other stuff. But I mean, it is really nice to have it be able to take your Switch anywhere and play it anywhere. So anyways, I hope they do release more games. I hope we'll see more stuff. I mean, like I said, Link's Awakening was overpriced, even if it was good. So I'm hoping maybe they can do some more stuff like that, just more than what they're doing now. And the service $20 a year for the online, the few games they drip feed us is just, it's not enough. And it's games we've all played like 1,000 times before. I really want to see like the N64 stuff, the Wii stuff, GameCube, more of the older Game Boy Advance games, all that stuff. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and if you want to hear more stuff like this, subscribe. I'm doing a review right now on Pokemon Sword and Shield, and I'll probably be doing a Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Complete Edition review right after that. I'm working on that. I'm actually loving it. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.